2,500 years ago, deep within a lost garden on the misty borders of India and Myanmar, somewhere among silent mountains and reclusive trees, something rare happened. Two unknown species from the citrus family, one a shy lemon with delicate skin and the other a bitter and sullen orange known as citrus, decided to embark on a little adventure for genetic diversity. The result? The birth of a creature no one was prepared to see. It wasn't sweet, it wasn't juicy, it wasn't even pretty, just a bunch of yellow fingers, twisted like a fruit raising its hands in fear of the world. Its name? Buddha's hand. Or as the Japanese call it, bushukan. But that was just a name, because Buddha hadn't ordered it and no one wanted to touch it. At a time when the world was celebrating successful and delightful hybrids, from pineapple, pine plus apple, to tangelo, half grapefruit, half tangerine, and aprium, plums, apricot, this one seemed like a glitch in nature's math, an unwanted child at the citrus party. But this isn't a story of a normal birth. This is the tale of a glorious downfall, a beautifully cursed misfit, the story of a fruit no one knew what to do with, until one day it reached the temples. No one quite knew when the seed hit the soil. Maybe it was the rain that washed a tiny seed down from the mountains to the foot of the hills. Maybe a bird accidentally moved it with its beak. Or maybe the earth just wanted to release something strange from within. Whatever it was, one morning in a field where no one was looking for anything new, a strange sprout emerged from the soil. Its green wasn't ordinary, and its leaves didn't look like anything the farmers had seen. Still, no one questioned it, because as long as something is green, it means there's hope. And from that day, the nameless plant began to grow, quietly, slowly, without any fuss. It never blended in with the other trees. Its shade wasn't pleasant, its branches weren't inviting. It stood alone, grew alone, like a child no one played with, but who was always watching. The seasons changed, and still it remained. Every winter it bent a little, but never broke. Every summer it grew taller, but not like the others. Farmers called it that strange tree. No one cut it down. Maybe they felt sorry. Maybe they were ashamed of not understanding it. Until one day, its twisted branches began to blossom. Tiny white flowers, fragrant, spreading their scent across the field. Not strong, not subtle, just unique. A scent that seemed to come from somewhere else, and then the first fruit. Not round, not fleshy, not sweet. Just a bunch of yellow fingers hanging from the branches like hands searching for something. No one knew what it was, but it could no longer be ignored. The tree no one was looking for had now borne a fruit no one had ever seen before. Soon, the fruits had ripened, heavy, shiny, complex, like fists hanging from the tree. They weren't juicy, weren't sweet, not even peelable. The farmer stared, baffled. 7 years had passed since the planting of that tree. 7 years of watering, pruning, weathering storms, and now, standing in the middle of the field, hands full of what looked more like a curse than food, he had no hope left. But he thought, maybe someone will see something I don't. That morning, with a full basket, he headed to the market. The market was crowded. Apples gleamed. Pomegranates burst with sweetness. Mangoes perfumed the air. And among all those colors and flavors stood a strange basket of yellow, jointed fruits. Scentless, tasteless, even frightening. People passed by. One laughed. One said, "Are those fingers or fruit?" Another touched one and said, "Ew, it's soft, like dead fingers." The farmer just stood there, head down, until a small bell rang. A Hindu monk, dressed in orange with a serene face, approached. He saw the basket and stopped, said nothing, just stared. The farmer tried to explain, to say what they were, to admit he didn't even know, but the monk raised his hand and said, "No, don't explain. I've seen them myself years ago in a dream." Right there, without bargaining, he bought the whole basket. With reverence, he wrapped each fruit in white cloth and took them away, not to eat, not to sell, but to offer, to a temple. From that day on, Buddha's hand was no longer just a strange fruit. It became the hand of Buddha, not for its taste, not for its looks, but because someone had seen light in it. They said Buddha's hand smells like peace, like a deep breath between prayers. It was placed on altars, burned in temples, hung in meditation rooms. No one asked, why does it look like that? They simply said it is what it is. And so, the fruit once mocked in the marketplace found its way into thousands of hearts. Sacred gifts find their path, and it couldn't stay in just one temple. Pilgrims came from across the land. They saw the fruit and marveled. One said, "It's like Buddha's fingers praying." Another whispered, "It's been touched by the divine." And someone quietly cried, not knowing why. Little by little, the story of Buddha's hand crossed borders. From Indian temples, it reached Buddhist temples in China. There, it got a new name, Foshogan, meaning the joyful hand of Buddha. In China, it earned a special place. It became a symbol of good fortune. They said if someone brought it home for the Chinese New Year, it would bring blessings. It was hung in closets, chests, above doorways to ward off evil. But its journey wasn't over. Through mountain paths, rivers, and caravans, Buddha's hand entered Japan. There too it was welcomed, not just as a sacred object, but as the saint of citrus. In Japanese temples, monks burned it in special incense. Its aroma brought peace, cleared the mind. They said, when Buddha smells Buddha's hand, he smiles. In Shinto ceremonies, it sat beside sacred flowers, and slowly this fruit, no longer just a freak, became a messenger of light and peace. In those days, Buddha's hand still carried the scent of temples. Its fragrance drifted through wooden temple walls, burned in incense, sat on altars beside candle holders, sometimes simply watched, never touched. But one day, an old Chinese chef who cooked for a king passed by a Buddha's hand. He bent down, examined it. No flesh, no juice, no sweetness to make your mouth water, just peel, peel, and more peel. Everyone laughed. "You're putting that in a pot? What, you want the smell of a temple bench in your stew?" But he smiled and said, "Some things aren't meant to be eaten or admired, only understood." And he took the Buddha's hand. With a special knife, he shaved its yellow skin. Not too much, not too little. Then he made sauces, added it to seafood, brewed tea, even baked desserts with it. And the result? The flavor of aroma, something between lemon and flower, a scent that filled the mouth first, then took the taste to an unknown place. Not sweet, not sour, not bitter, a different sensation. A mystical feeling, like Buddha smiling. This time, from a plate of food. Japanese, French, and Italian chefs slowly caught on. "What is this?" they asked. The answer was just one word, Buddha's hand. Now, Buddha's hand had gone from altars to plates, not just as a quirky garnish, but as an authentic spice. Its peel was dried, grated, blended with chocolate, used in cocktails, and each time the same fragrance, the same taste, the same grandeur. The fruit once feared now appeared on the menus of Michelin-starred restaurants, like a knight trading his armor for an apron, but with the same old glory. And now, after all its journey and glory, the question remains, can Buddha's hand conquer a new frontier again? Is the world of perfumery, medicine, or even science awaiting its next heroic act? Or maybe it's time for retirement. That same fruit, once picked with despair by a farmer who said, "Who'd ever eat this?" is now strutting around in Michelin-star kitchens, from citrus monster to symbol of Buddhist peace, from terrifying oddity to fragrant delicacy for gourmet chefs, from an unknown tree in the hills to golden temples and fancy restaurants. But let's be honest, is it easy to be born looking like a bunch of fat fingers with no juice, no flesh, no clear identity? Is it cool not to be a mango, a tangerine, or even a cute little orange? No, darling. Everything about it, the name, the look, screams, "I'm a genetic mistake," but a mistake that amazed the world. So if you asked it, "Hey, Buddha's hand, is it really hard to be born like you?" It might smile if it had lips and say, "Yeah." And now, no one knows what honor awaits Buddha's hand tomorrow. Maybe a face mask, maybe a yoga tool, maybe even president of the Exotic Fruit Association. Or maybe it'll return to solitude, be forgotten, and gather dust again in some wooden box in the corner of a market. If this story fascinated you, be sure to share your thoughts with me. Don't miss the next one.